بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. أيها الأخوة والأخوات, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, and welcome to session 28. Again, 28th session. And remember, in the previous one, we just started a text about Ahmed or Muhammad or Abdullah Muhammad, and we started underlining the verbs, right? We started with the first two, and then we, of course, stopped. So in this session, we'll continue that, of course, and then do the exercises, and yeah, let's begin. All right. The second sentence where we did that, then the third one, he gets up at 5. He gets up at 5 o'clock and takes a shower. Now, what's the verb there? Do we have more verbs in that sentence after the verb gets? Yeah, look at the verb take. Is that a verb? Yes, it is. So it has to be, again, underlined. It has to be underlined, and I have just underlined it. All right, and the next sentence, after the Fajr prayer, he has, and it is underlined now, he has breakfast at 6 o'clock, then, and by the way, we of course have discussed the use of these transition words, right? We use then and next and after that to talk about, of course, things that happen, regularly. Like if you get up in the morning, right, and you do something, and then you do something, and then you do something. So all of these, then, after that, next, and then finally. So that's, of course, some, these are some words that normally, and we call them transition words, to just help the reader follow the activities from the beginning to the end. All right. So then he leaves home at 6:30. The verb is leave, okay? So it's leaves. He leaves. Again, the subject is he, so we have to add that S. He leaves home at 6:30 and goes, okay? And goes to work by car. The normal time to start work at his office is 7:30. Do we have a verb here? Well, let's see. No. Well, the next sentence is gets. He gets to school at 7 because he has to be in class on time. So gets. And then he has lunch at his school's cafeteria. He has. And then he often has rice and meat for lunch. And of course that's has again. And then he usually, look at that, usually here we said, do you remember what we said about that word? What is it? What do we call it? We call that a frequency adverb. Okay, and the frequency adverbs are, of course, usually, sometimes, and never. There are more, of course, but what we have here in this exercise is just about 3 only. All right, so he usually works late, and again, that's a verb, okay, and then he finishes, all right, he finishes work at 3 o'clock every day. On his way home, he sometimes buys a sandwich and eats it at home. Eats, again, that's another verb. And the next sentence is, he gets home at 4:30 p.m. Okay, and that's a verb here. He never, that's a frequency adverb, he never goes out. He never goes out in the evening. So that's a verb, again. And then this one is also a verb. He checks his students' homework assignments. Okay, that's a verb. This is a verb here, so we need that one, the verb check. So that's a verb as well. It's supposed to be underlined. Okay, that's another verb. He checks. Okay, he checks his students' homework assignments. So I think what happened is that because I did do some change, that one is not a verb, of course. So let me move this here all the way to the verb. Okay. I think this is good because that helps. It's just like as if we are doing it in class together. All right. So, yeah, so the verb then is checks. He checks his students' homework assignments. And the last sentence is he doesn't work. He doesn't work on weekends. The last sentence is here, of course. He goes to bed. This is the one before the last, and this is the last sentence. The final sentence in this text is he goes to bed at 10. He goes to bed at 10. So let me just very quickly then go through the verbs and explain them, all right, and what happens here with the verb and why we add s. First of all, why do we add s to the, some of the verbs are, some of these verbs are regular, some of these verbs are regular, and some of them are irregular. Regular verbs normally end with s, okay, or es. That's the, of course, normal ending with regular verbs. Irregular verbs, however, do not. Sometimes they end with s, sometimes they have a different form, okay. So one of the, of course, irregular verbs is like this. This is has. Of course, the infinitive is have. That's the, of course, the base form of the verb is have. We do not say haves. He haves lunch at 1. No, we don't say he haves. We say he has. And if you look at here, the verb go, okay, the verb go, we do not add s only, we add es. All right. And another one is, I think we do not have any other irregular verb here. But let's go through the rest of the verbs anyway. Get, gets, has, leaves. Again, the verb here, the verbs that end with voiceless sounds, يعني الأفعال اللي تنتهي بالأصوات اللي نسميها voiceless ما فيها اهتزاز في الحبال الصوتية كما قلنا من قبل, هي the verb get, the verb take, the verb get here, the verb get again, and the verb check, work, okay, and sit, and eat. So notice how I pronounce these verbs. I said gets, okay, gets, takes, gets, works, gets, checks, okay, and eats. Whereas here, بينما هنا, we said the verb ends with voiced. الفعل هنا ينتهي بإيش؟ صوت فيه في نهاية الصوت يكون فيه اهتزاز في الحبال الصوتية اللي هو الصوت the صوت the. Then leaves, leaves, all right? And here it ends with a vowel, and vowels are all voiced. So that's buys. We don't say buys, we don't say leaves, we say leaves, buys, and goes, okay? We say goes, and goes here, and here. All right. Okay, so that's the text with the verbs underlined. Now, the next thing we have to do is, or the task is to answer the questions. Answer questions, then answer questions. All right. Read the questions about Abdullah's day, complete the answers. We have questions here. Look, the first question is, what time does he get up? Let me explain, of course, why we have does, because the subject that we're asking about is what? He. So what time, that's the question word altogether. We're asking about what time. عادة لما نسأل نقول what time معناها أنه specifically, I'm asking about a specific time. We can say when, but here we want a more specific information about exactly when. So what time does he get up? And again, what time does he get? This is the main verb, and again, the S is dropped when we have, for example, the answer. You'll notice that, let me explain it, of course, with the answer. He at 5. He gets up at 5. لاحظ الفعل هنا ينتهي بالS. وعند إيش؟ عند تركيب السؤال, that S is dropped. That S is dropped, تسقط. And we start with the question word, what time? قلنا إيش? To be very specific, of course, we use what time. We can use when. Then we start with, then the helping verb, يأتي بعدها الفعل المساعد, then the subject, okay, and then the main verb. That's in the case of question. احنا الآن في السؤال يعني. And here the verb, okay, لاحظ في الجملة المثبتة, it's there. The S is there, no S here. So we drop it. So what time does he get up? What time does he get up? Or what time does he get up? He gets up at 5. Question number 2. When does he have breakfast? And again, we said have. This is the of course, the infinitive of the verb. Okay, the base form of the verb have is just have. Okay. Now, the subject is here, right? And we need a verb here. Breakfast is 6. Okay. Would it still be have here؟ يعني هل سيظل كما هو أم سيتغير؟ أم هنقول مثلا هل نقول he has؟ Okay. احنا قلنا لسه الفعل ايه؟ الفعل have او the verb have is irregular، يعني لا يمشي على القاعدة الأساسية اللي هي إضافة s أو es. Okay. فنقول ايش؟ he has breakfast at 6. Question 3. When does he go to work? When does he go? And then again here we need a verb. He goes to work at 6:30. Number 4. Where does he have lunch? Where does he have lunch? Where does he have? Again, here we need also the verb have here. We want to use it here, but we of course need to use the form, the correct form, of course, when we have the subject, when the subject is the pronoun here, so it has to be has. He has lunch at school. And here, of course, at school or at a cafeteria in school, because I don't have space, and you can just say school, at school. And number 5, what does he have for lunch? What does he have for lunch? يعني إيش يأكل عندما يعني في وقت الغداء. What does he have for lunch? He has rice and meat. Question 6, does he go to work by car? That's a yes, no question. So we need either yes or no. Of course, you have to decide based on the rest of the sentence. يعني راح تقرر بناء على نهاية الجملة. He does. Now, because we do not have the word not for negative, this has to be yes. Yes, he does. Does he have lunch at home? لاحظ هنا doesn't. So this has to be no, he doesn't. And does he go out in the evening? No, he what? He doesn't. Again, does he work on weekends? Does he work on weekends? All right, question number 9. Does he work on weekends? Does he work on weekends? Again, that's a yes, no question. Does he work? We do not say does he works, again, because we already used does, and does take that S that we add in affirmative sentences. When we have an affirmative sentence here, or here, or here, of course, we have to use that S in case the verb is regular. All right, so the answer would be, okay, does he work on weekends? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. All right, let me go through these verbs again. Gets, has, goes, has, and here, the negative here. No, he doesn't. That's a short answer, right? And we have contraction here. Does not. The not here, or the verb, or the word not, is attached to the helping verb does. You can say, of course, no, he does not, or no, he doesn't. All right, and this is also just identical to that one. All right, next slide. Now let me just go back a little bit and explain something about some of the verbs in the previous slide. Yes, here. The verbs, I think I just kind of explained some of the verbs, but other verbs like, for example, finish, right, and check, right? See, finish ends with es. We say finishes, and check, checks, right? I just wanted to, just point out that this verb ends with es, okay, and we pronounce it is. Okay, all right, we did that one. Just did that. The next exercise here, exercise number 2 in this session, ask and answer questions about Abdullah's day. Okay, first, you have, of course, I think you have to do that yourselves, but maybe I did the first one. I'm not sure. I think I did the first one. And, well, actually, I think I did everything. But I wanted to explain to you how, of course, we make, questions, word by word, all right? And this should be a very helpful exercise. All right, now look, we have some information here, okay? Have breakfast, what time? Now what do we need to make a question from these words here? What time, the question word plus the word time, and then have breakfast. All right, and it's, again, about questions, of course, about Abdullah's day. Questions about Abdullah's day. First. All right, so in number 1 here, then, what time, and then have breakfast. We need to use, okay, we want to use this information here, or these words, to make question about, again, about Abdullah's day. Remember, you've read about Abdullah and his day, and we want to, of course, use, we will have to add some words here. We want some other words to make a question, question. Let's see what comes right after. I mean, what is the order? What do we, of course, need to add here? The first thing is, of course, the question word, and it is what time. What time? What plus the, of course, the word time. Then after that, what do we have to have? Then the helping verb do. Okay, the helping verb do. So what time does what? He. Because again, we're asking about Abdullah's day. Abdullah is, of course, a man, and we need to use the pronoun he. So what time does he? And then after that, of course, we have to have the verb, the main verb. And of course, we use the base form of the verb because, again, we've already used does. What time does he have? Right, breakfast. And after that, do we stop? Do we stop after this? Nothing? We add nothing? No, we have to add a question mark. The question mark here to indicate that it is a question. All right, let's keep going then. Then we have when, leave home, and again, use the information, again, the same pronoun, it's he. So what do we use here? When does he leave home? And a question word. When does he leave home? When does he leave home? When does he leave home? Number 3, when get to work. What we need here is, again, same thing, we need does. So when does he get to work? When does he get to work? When does he get to work? And then a yes no question. Here we have does go to work by car. There's something missing here, which is, of course, the thing that we're asking about, and it is the person that we're asking about, and it is Abdullah, and it's he. So does he go to work by car? Number 5, does get to work at 7? And the question, of course, does he get to work at 7? And the question mark here. Of course, we must have it here as well. Number 6, what have for lunch? Now, here we're asking, this is of course, an information question using the question word what. So we need, this is not a yes no, it's not a yes no question, right? So what does he have for lunch? What does he have for lunch? And a question word again. Number 7, when finish work? And it is, when does he finish work? Question word. When does he finish work? Number 8, does he eat, or, well, I did it, does eat in his office. It's does he eat in his office? Question word. I mean, yeah, question mark. I'm sorry. Question marks. Yeah, all question marks, not question words. These are question words. What, when, and all of this. All right. Number 9. What do in the evening? Okay. And again, this is a verb. This is the main verb, of course, and we need a helping verb plus the subject. So, what does he do in the evening? What does he do in the evening? And the question mark is there. I think this, should be a very helpful exercise because it takes you, or it gives you the, of course, chance to see how we make question a step by step, word after the other, right? The question word, the helping verb, then the subject, and then the rest of the question. So I hope it was helpful. Let me explain just a little bit here something that notice that the main verb, right? The main verb in, of course, the questions, right? The have, okay, have, leave, right? Get, okay, go, get, have, finish, eat, do, right? We do not add that s, okay, that we usually add when we make affirmative or positive sentences. يعني لا نضيف أي شيء okay على الفعل okay مثل ما يكون لما تكون الجملة إيش مثبتة أو إيجابية. طبعا الأفعال الغير يعني نسميها irregular verbs like have, right? And I think we just have only the verb have in this slide, and the verb go as well. All right, next slide is another exercise. All right, it says ask and answer questions about Abdullah's day. Okay, these are, I think, the answers. All right, same questions that we have just made in the previous slide. نفس الأسئلة اللي سويناها الآن مكتوبة بطريقة وراح أقرأها بطريقة الآن سريعة. What time does he have breakfast? What time does he have breakfast? He has breakfast at 6. لاحظ has. Okay, now he has. That's the main verb. Although it is, of course, here is irregular, but we cannot say haves. We have to say has. All right. So what time does he have breakfast? He has breakfast at 6. 2. When does he leave home? When does he leave home? He leaves. لاحظ أيضا. He leaves home at 6:30. Number 3. When does he get to work? When does he get to work? He gets to work at 7. Number 4. Does he go to work by car? That's a yes, no question. Does he go to work by car? Yes, he does. Or you can say, yes, he goes to work by car. But normally, again, with yes, no questions, we give short answers. 5. Does he get to work at 7? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Number 6. What does he have for lunch? He has rice and meat. He has rice and meat. When does he finish work? He finishes work at 3 o'clock. He finishes work at 3 o'clock. Number 8. Does. And here I have to add that E because it's very important. We don't want you to just get it is E here, misspelled. Does he eat in his office? Does he eat in his office? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And the last one, what does he do in the evening? What does he do in the evening? He checks his students' assignments. He checks his students' assignments, and of course, again, that one we need a, of course, G here to make it correct. So let me take it here. So the last one, what does he do in the evening? He checks his students' assignments or homework assignments. Okay, I hope again that this section was very helpful. And with that, of course, we come to the end of it anyway. So in the next session, which is the 29th session, we'll do more of the simple present tense. Until, of course, we get to that session, I would say thank you so much. Shukran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.